Hey, everybody, this is John Harder. Welcome to another episode of Defining Your Brand podcast. I'm here with Michael, and he is the owner of Psudo Sneakers. Is that how you would call it?
Absolutely.
All
Psudo
right.
Sneakers. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for joining me today.
Sure.
I'm going to change up my view here. Here we go. So tell us a little bit about you, about Psudo Sneakers, how you got started, and how maybe Psudo Sneakers is going to be different from everyone's average shoe.
Okay. So I've been in the footwear industry for a long time. 25 plus years. I mean, really 30 if you include, or 30. I mean, like a long time if you include the years when I started working in shoe stores as a kid. And it's kind of always been a passion of mine, a business I wanted to get into, and I just worked hard to get on the business side of the industry and started traveling for other people, making shoes all over the planet, basic what they call private label programs for back in, Venture, if you remember Venture, or
Yes.
Certainly Walmart and Payless and Target and all those stores. Basically just learning how shoes were made, how they were constructed, building relationships with factories, just really understanding the entire supply chain, how it works, how they're imported. I transitioned when I went to go work at Brown Shoe, which is now called Caleres, as in sales for them, in one of their brands there. And that was a big learning experience for me as well. I learned more about, just building relationships with the retailers and also brands. I started to form kind of relationships with brands, but always kind of on the back end, on the sourcing side, designing, developing, producing shoes for other people, mostly at the lowest cost, possible, highest volumes possible. And I've quite frankly, have built great relationships all over the world. Yeah. I always had an idea of making a shoe in the United States. It was kind of like a passion project of mine, and started looking around at the various factory options that might be available just to source product for those same people in the US, and realized it really doesn't exist. In a major way. I mean, if there's a shoe factory out there, it's open and running for already, it's already, the capacity is already full. It's, Red Wing has a factory in Minnesota. So, you talk to Red Wing and they're like, well, we're so full, we're just making shoes for us. They're not interested in making shoes, certainly for a competitor.
Right.
That's how those factories existed. So, fast forward, I said, you know what, I'm going to come up with my own shoe, design my own product. But I wanted to think about it a little bit differently because, just to come up with another shoe that looks like something else, I didn't feel like that was special enough. Okay. And as time progressed, with the business, the overall business industry and fashion and almost everything else, the business changed from where we sold into retail stores with trade shows and things like that into what we call direct to consumer. So, starting to sell directly to, anyone through social media, through websites. And I realized, as everyone else did, that that's the way you sell today.
Right.
That's the way you want to establish your brand. So all that is, in my opinion, really positive, because then you can, instead of, sitting up at a trade show, potentially wasting a lot of money, hoping that someone walks in and then judges your product, what I wanted to do was tell the full story online and through social media. And as far as what Psudo has become, it started off as an idea of any shoe. I didn't know what it was going to be. And I wanted it to be a price point that would be more affordable than you've seen work boots or men's leather shoes made in USA that are really rugged, beautiful shoes that can last years and years. I was always more interested in kind of a more affordable price point and sneakers. And in the US, really only New Balance makes sneakers in a major way in the US. And those shoes are usually like 150, 180, 200, 250, and work boots are, 250 to 500 or more to
Yeah.
do that same thing. So I reverse engineered the process to, I'll kind of show you a shoe right here. Which is basically it's a one piece slip on shoe.
Yeah.
Like on an athletic sole.
Yeah.
And this material is actually like printed. It's not actual physical knit, look.
Okay. Yeah.
This is a part of a shoe to show you like kind of how they're assembled. This is on a shoe last, and
Yeah.
these are not parts and pieces, and there are no actual laces. This is just printed on right there.
Okay.
So the reason behind all this was because of the cost of labor, which is the biggest direct cost in manufacturing anywhere in the globe. To do it domestically just skyrockets that price point. And so I said, what if I could make a shoe that looked like something more intricate, designed? And so I said, what about the brand Psudo, which really means fake or artificial. And so it's kind of a play off of that, because we want people to get that that's what we're trying to achieve, is kind of a pseudo sneaker look. But the materials we wanted to use, the sole we wanted to construct is like super comfortable. This is actually made in Missouri. Like this is our little footrest. It's where your foot sits on this.
Yeah.
And then our sole is just super flexible, very lightweight, but very, very durable and extremely comfortable. And so the shoe does have some like real nice substance to it. And, from a product standpoint, we're getting a lot of good feedback, but that's kind of how the whole process came to be. So we are able to do it domestically and 100% made in USA. The material on our upper it's made out of recycled plastic bottles.
Okay.
So trying to tell, as much of a eco-friendly story as possible. I think there's more opportunity ahead in terms of our abilities to, even go more green, I'll say. But it's not cheap to make this type of shoe, even as simple as this shoe is. And it's not easy. It's been a challenge, to say the least, just figuring out how to do it.
Right. Yeah. Who do you find is like a good customer for you? I mean, besides anyone, do you have like specific people or lifestyle or like a certain type of customer that kind of gravitates to what you do?
I think as time has gone on, I think people are way more interested in where their products are coming from, what they're made of, who's behind the company. I just feel like the stories of our products are becoming more important. I think also people are more interested overall in purchasing something that might last a little longer. Certainly comfort is always a factor, but being able to kind of support a company that is doing as much as they can. It's never a perfect world, I have to say. And there's seemingly always room, especially in the sneaker market, for something new. And always a new product. And I think people are receptive to kind of all of that stuff.
Yeah. It seems like, from the little I know and just kind of observed, that it seems like sneakers are generally like the same. So if we see something new, it kind of catches our eye even more because we're used to seeing the same thing. So yeah, I can definitely see how this would stand out in that market, because it seems like everyone's always trying to evolve it a little bit, but it's still always kind of the same. So yeah,
it's definitely, it's always, I mean, listen, but the fun thing about the athletic industry and what has driven me toward it, it's always something new and different. And there's plenty of color, comfort's always involved. I mean, you are competing against the biggest, players in the world, of the Adidases and Nikes and Pumas. And that's not really who I'm going after. I mean, I don't think that's not the goal really. But there's plenty of room out there for, I think, something different that again, people can feel more, related to than a big, company like Nike.
Yeah.
And, they make the best product out there, don't get me wrong. And they do a lot of things on an eco-friendly standpoint that people don't really know. I mean, if you really go on their website and dig into their, what they do, they really are working very hard to be as eco-friendly as possible.
Yeah. You talked a little bit about kind of being in the online world versus, and I think maybe you and I talked a little bit beforehand than being in a store or something like that. I mean, it seems, not to harp on everything that's going on right now, but that seems like that makes more sense than ever, especially in kind of the current climate, is to make yourself available in an online market versus in a store or something like that. Because I feel like we've been going in this direction for a long time, and now we've been kind of forced into it, whether it be unwillingly or just quicker than we thought it might be.
It's obviously very unfortunate. It's not a great time to put even more pressure on those stores and the malls in general, because I'm a big proponent of in-store shopping. To be honest with you, I love the experience of going to the mall, finding something new, seeing something, touching and feeling it, where online I have to do an extra, you have to go way out of your way to make sure that people know how flexible that sole is, or what does it feel like, and how does something look on someone.
Yeah.
And then everyone online is getting way better at it. Ultimately, I have a goal, or I'd like to see it, they call omni-channel, which means some wholesale, online, and also in third-party stores, or even my own stores at some point. I mean, those are all dreams right now, because I'm just trying to establish who Psudo is. We're relatively new. We just launched late last year, and about to launch our new spring products and stuff like that. So I love shopping retail. I find I probably, for things that that you like, the next pair of jeans that the size or whatever, very easy. Or if you need another pair of running shoes that's replacing a current one, and your size in Brooks running or something like that, then that makes it very easy. But that touch feel aspect is something I think people still really want. They think they would like that balance, in their own lives. And when it's taken away from us, like it is now, there's no toilet paper, because we're worried that it'll be taken away from us,
Yeah. It's a crazy time. For you right now, are you working in a team? Are you kind of a one-man show? How does that, what does that behind the scenes look like?
It's a husband and wife team. My wife and I own the company 100%. We've self-funded this, thus far. I have a designer that works with me. He's a consultant, but I use him like almost on a full-time basis. We have he's contractual with me, so we're working every day together. And then we have we hired a social media girl, who can help us really, communicate properly through social media. That's not my expertise, and she's done like a fantastic job. She really, gets it. It's communicating with people every day or asking questions. So that's been good. And then who else? We had, because I've always been behind the scenes, we did hire a branding firm to help us like really tell the story. And if you look at our website and our colors, we wanted kind of this modern vintage feel to it. And, hopefully it's just a clean look overall, but that's something I really needed a lot of help with. Just branding is something totally new. Making shoes is like my background, and I have an understanding of that. But even there, I mean, it's not been easy.
Yeah, and I think, for any of us that have our own business, it's important to have those people that are gifted in those areas that we aren't, because that's what makes us kind of operate at a better level. And so, yeah, it's really cool that you have a team, whether it be family, friends, people you know, that are helping you kind of make this come to life. Because I think for anyone out there doing something, that's what we need, is a team to kind of help us to move forward.
Absolutely. I mean, I think a lot of the people that have helped me, the manufacturer is really, we're kind of in partnership. It's not I don't own the actual facility. I own the equipment that goes in the facility. So it's been a partnership with them, and a money losing proposition for the first, 6, 7 months as we tried to figure out how to do it together. And they really believe in the project, and they saw my passion for it. And I think anyone that you contract with or has done work for you, or I would work for, you want to feel that same kind of, passion. If they're passionate about it, I think it becomes like, wow, I really want to get behind this. This guy obviously is, trying to do something here, or, opposed to just a job.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you talked about losing money in the beginning. I mean, I think any small business owner or business owner in general kind of understands that beginning story, that it's a struggle to kind of get things off the ground, but to know that, this is something that you believe in that much. And for any of us out there, when we believe in something that much, it's like it's worth the struggle to kind of see it through.
Well, I mean, the saying, if it was easy, everyone would do it, or that sort of thing. And it definitely is not easy. I definitely feel it's a roller coaster. It really is. I mean, if you've, all the entrepreneurs you've talked with, I'm sure they've said very similar things.
Yeah.
Took twice as long, took 7 times as much, cost 7 times as much, or whatever analogy you want to use about starting a business. And it's a roller coaster, and honestly, if you look at where I am right now with domestic manufacturing sneaker, you think I was a genius, because, people are always, wondering because of, what's happening with our global economy. And, last year we had the tariff fight with China and stuff like that. Meanwhile, I was working on this, and the passion for this wasn't necessarily driven by, Made in USA and rah rah USA. It's not that. I mean, actually, the result is I realize I'm employing people through my whole supply chain. The people that make the fabric, the people that make the soles, the people that are assembling the shoes. I don't. It's not direct. I'm hiring 75 people, but at one point I'll look back and say, this touched 4 different facilities, all in the U.S., and it helped employ these people. Even right now, the factory that I work in Wisconsin is operating right now. Now, and I could look at that. You could look at it in a couple ways. One way is wow, these people should be home.
Yeah.
To make sure that we're not spreading this any further. But on the other hand, they have kids and they have families, and this sometimes is their main income, and they want to keep working, so it's as long as, and the factory actually has done, put together where they space people out properly, and it's considered they make product for a lot of other people, including medical supplies. So they are considered a necessary, I forget the terminology.
I was going to say that's becoming such a hot topic right now, because, people need jobs. And so, yeah, essential business,
Right.
something like that.
Right.
But yeah, it's important more than ever for these people that do have families and are going to be hurt by this.
I mean, shoes are not essential, but they happen to be working in the factory, and so I'm happy that they're still having their livelihood. Because you see what's happening with the restaurant industry or other service industries where they can't operate or not fully. So it's definitely an interesting time.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I've seen that in my business, because I'm a service-based business and most of my clients are people versus a product, which is, you know, I love talking to people that are in the product industry because I've done a little bit of that, but most of my income and jobs have been person to person. So, I mean, that obviously has gone away right now. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like maybe shoes aren't essential, but jobs are. So
Right, right, of course. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and even selling right now, I mean, it's not the main, thing on my mind either. I'm thinking about, a long-term strategy. I know right now is not the time to really push sales and, but at the same time, if you follow, see what's happening online, most brands, or a lot of brands, or people that I follow, are not just selling, they're doing whatever they can to help out, even if that's just an encouraging word, or like this, just know that this will be over soon. I mean, hopefully, so it's just, yeah, it's a very interesting time for all of us, because it just sets everything back. It just sets everything back a few months. And so struggling through that, if you're a big company, I can't imagine the economics behind that. I mean,
it's so
so
interesting to see like how in the market that existed before this happened, the big companies were the ones that kind of thrived in that environment, and now it's seems like the small business at home, those are the ones that are thriving now, because that's the only way that we can work at this point is from our homes. And there are some of those essential companies out there that are, independent or stay-at-home moms, or whatever it may be, and they're the ones that are, from the conversations that I've been having, are thriving right now. So it's interesting to see the shift that's happening in the current climate.
Absolutely. The bigger companies, they can't get together and have their, have meetings, and they sort of don't know how to operate. It's just, it's almost, they completely, I won't say shut down, but they're very inefficient, but then I talk to some people who now are working from home, who love it, and they're like, wow, I've really been missing out. I've been working home for, the past, 10 years almost.
Me too.
So my wife's used to having me around, my kids are in college and high school, so I never see them. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm stuck home trying to work with a baby. I mean, that's very challenging. If you've ever been snowed in with a kid all weekend,
Yeah, I have
you
friends that have multiple kids and dogs and spouses that
right.
are normally away at work, and they're having to figure out, how do I do my normal life with all this chaos kind of running around all the time. So yeah, it's definitely finding a new normal at this point for a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah,
So
for sure.
how do you do any partnerships with your company, like as far as, whether it may be other businesses or individuals that want to promote you, or what does that kind of look like? Do you have any of that kind of in place yet?
We're starting to work on that, pretty hot and heavy right now. For our launch, actually last year, we had a party at Brennan's in Midtown.
Oh yeah.
We did like a little launch party down there. I'm kind of a member of their, uh, um, have you ever been down there to Brennan's
Yeah,
Midtown?
it's kind of like a co-working space type.
Exactly. Yeah. Sorry. That was the word I was looking for. Yes. It's a co-working space. So we did a little launch party there, and I had partnered with the University of Missouri St. Louis with their graphic arts department, and I had some of their students design some shoes.
That's awesome.
And we picked a winner, like we kind of not crowdfunded, but crowdsourced, who the winner would be, and we made a pair of shoes for her, and she just like was tickled pink.
That's cool.
Like worked out really well. Umzo gave us a little press, and it's just kind of like the tip of the iceberg for what we do want to do. We are talking with artists, we're talking with some brands about, collaborating together on a design. The interesting thing about, this particular shoe is we have very low minimums, meaning like we can make custom shoes almost. I mean, so that's part of the benefit, again, from this, making it locally, is that, again, working in Asia, you get to bring in boatloads of inventory, and let's say I pick the black shoe that I think everyone will like, and I have a warehouse full of them, and I've got to sell those. That's really not the case. I can kind of shift, relatively fast when it comes to the styles, but also in terms of these collaborations, we don't need to make a million pair.
Right.
So we are, outreaching to a variety of people, working with a couple local artists right now. And then we are talking with some other brands about, how to do it, whether it's a apparel company that doesn't have footwear, but also maybe a similar mindset, or an artist that just does some kick-ass work and, I think would look great on, one of our shoes, and kind of collaborate with his community and my community, and, see what we can do. We would like to do the same thing in a charitable way.
Mm.
Part of our mission will be related to kind of domestic local causes. Again, there's not need everywhere in the world. There is. And again, I don't want to be too rah-rah, USA, but right now you're seeing a lot of people rise up and help out, and I think it's incredible, and I want to be part of that, in a consistent way. And it's not necessarily, I don't necessarily have one mission in mind in particular, but we're starting to figure out how to do it, transparently, so it doesn't come off as just putting, a pink ribbon on a shoe or something like that, but really doing something with raising some actual money and doing something good with those funds.
Yeah, that's cool. So how can people going forward, like how can people help? How can people support you? What's to come for you guys?
Well, we're open to plenty of suggestions. I mean, obviously, supporting the brand with trying our shoes, buying our shoes would be, great.
Yeah.
Anyone has suggestions, please feel free to reach out at Shop Psudo, or psudo.com, psudo.com. And, we're definitely open. We've been communicating with a variety of people that are reaching out to us. Just this morning, we had done a rainbow shoe in women's as a rainbow, on the side that women were really loving. And we happen to have made the shoe in men's already, but didn't put it online. And just this morning, this guy said, I was really thrilled with your women's color stories, but I didn't like the men's. It wasn't colorful enough. And I was literally just working this morning on putting it up on our website, and it's, the blue multi, and he bought a pair, just this morning. So, I can't do things that fast. I mean, that's like, we had already, put that in the works. It's not quite, print on demand type of thing, but, compared to traditional timelines for footwear, it could be 6 months to get back in stock on something. We're usually about 2 weeks to 3 weeks. So, anyway, so we're kind of like in the beginning stages of figuring out how we're going to ultimately market the brand, and, who we're going to collaborate with, but we're open to, a lot of suggestions.
Yeah, I was going to say, I see so many like creators and influencers and different things like that, where they kind of support brands. And especially now, I feel like locally too, more than ever, is a great way to do that. And again, not to go too much of the doom and gloom, but in the time that we are right now, that more than ever, any ways that we can kind of support each other, I think is a great thing to do. So yeah, I could see,
absolutely,
for you, maybe partnering with someone that has an influence that can kind of share what you're doing, and hopefully things like this can shed some light on what you're doing too, because I think it's really cool. I hadn't heard of you guys until a mutual friend of ours sent me your name, and so yeah, it's cool to see what you're doing, and
thank you. Thank you.
Share with as many people as possible.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, it's like we're a brand new startup, and I like see what other brands are doing, and we're not established enough. We don't have the funding to go turn our factory into, producing medical supplies, or, you know, things I would love to do, you know, and like, I'm excited about those type of opportunities in the future. And so, you know, we're just hoping for that community type support, you know, and also just doing something a little better than most. I mean, obviously we are you know, it's a for-profit company, but it's become a mission, to be honest with you, because if you really look at the dollars and cents of launching a brand, it's really not the way you would do it. You know, I am definitely compromising profit margins and, you know, for completing this mission, which is, you know, making these shoes locally and seeing how eco-friendly I can possibly make them. And, you know, I love it. I mean, I think it's a big opportunity, and I kind of think I'll just, you know, pay it forward, and hopefully there'll be profits to come in the future. But it's, you know, again, just comparing with my day job, which, you know, I am still working, you know, in Asia for other brands as my income, to be honest with you. But I know how much like the same shoe would cost, you know, would be less than half.
Right.
Less than half. So,
to make it, you mean, to produce it?
yeah, to produce it would be much, you know, much less expensive, much less headache. But, you know, but the benefit, honestly, is going to be really, really tremendous in terms of, you know, when people talk about wanting to purchase less but buy better quality products. I mean, I think we really put a quality product into the shoe, whereas, again, most, I wouldn't say they try and, you know, get the cheapest product. That's not really, I don't know how to put it the exact way. There are cheaper ways to make what I've done.
Yeah.
And I didn't go that route. I spent the extra money. I did the extra step, the extra process, whatever that may be. So, you know, you know, the shoes are extremely comfortable. I'm very biased, but they have like an amazing arch support. But they kind of fit like snug to your foot, but your feet can still wiggle in them. Your toes can still wiggle. So it's not like, I call them coffins. Like, I don't know if you have to wear dress shoes that much, but, you know, to me, those feel like coffins, you know, when I put on a dress shoe. And these are just like very freeing, and sole is super supportive and very comfortable. So
cool. Well, how can people, I think you mentioned before, but you're on Instagram, is that right?
Yeah.
What's the handle there?
It's shop.psudo.com with 2 P's, SHOPPSUDO.
Okay.
And then the website is simple, psudo.com.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining with me today and kind of talking about your brand.
Thank you, John.
I hope so many people will go out there and support what you're doing, because it seems like a really, really cool thing that I haven't seen other people doing. So definitely wish you the best of luck in all of this.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. And good luck with your, if you're staying at home, or, you know,
right,
whatever we all have to do right now. Just kind of
figuring it out as we go, one day at a time.
Especially as the weather gets nicer, it's very difficult. You know, I have friends in New York and California, and it's California especially. I mean, they're closing the strands on the beach now, because they just don't want that many people walking, and because they are encouraging people to go outside to get fresh air, just to get out of the house. But then in populated areas like Southern California, it's then all of a sudden everyone's all out there again.
Right.
And so.
Yeah, I've been trying to, when it's nice out, to at least walk around the neighborhood or something. I see so many people out, you know, I think it's kind of our saving grace right now, our peace of mind, to just be able to be outside. Right now, I feel like I don't even know what day and night is at this point.
Like, today is Friday, but it's like, you normally get geared up for the weekend, and you're like, okay, tonight I can just relax or whatever, go to happy hour, go to a nice patio or something like that. And none of that's happening tonight anywhere in this whole country, virtually this whole country. So totally different. And
it's a new time.
It's sad. It's sad, but we'll get back to it.
That's right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And everybody go check out what Michael's doing with Psudo. And thanks for listening, guys.